What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and share. Alright, y'all, moment of truth. We gonna break down what happened in the last video. If you haven't seen the last video, me doing DoorDash, make sure you check it out, y'all. It's a lot of stuff that, you gotta watch that before you watch this, before you know what we're talking about. But if you have seen the first video, you know we made $38.50 in a little bit over 2 hours, okay? So that brings us to roughly around $19 an hour for our pay. Some people might say, hey, that's cool, that ain't too bad. Well, if you saw, we pretty much drove like about $1 per mile, I would say. That wasn't worth it. So if you think about it, we drove almost 40 miles for $40. That's not worth it for me, y'all. That's not worth it. So let me break down a couple things about DoorDash, and like I said, I'm gonna tie it into the whole thing about the algorithm that I was mentioning before. First off, the reason why I disliked DoorDash so much was literally for that reason of the fact that the pay to the mileage, the ratio, it ain't always good. It ain't always good. So yeah, sometimes you might get lucky. Maybe you get like an $8 and you only got to drive 3 miles. But that's not always the case, because you got a lot of folks that don't tip. And I don't want to go ahead and put the blame on the customer. Now, I'll admit, in the past, I didn't really give that great tips. Like, I always tipped at least like $2 if I can help it. But now that I've been a dasher, I always give at least a $5 tip minimum. And this is simply because DoorDash does not pay their drivers well at all. So as a customer, you might be thinking, yo, these drivers getting paid a decent amount, because I gotta pay for a delivery fee if you ain't got Dash Pass. Even then, I don't even know if it's really worth it. You got a service fee, sometimes random fees. Literally, when I was still going into the office, there was a Chicago fee. I don't know if I still have that screenshot. If I do, I'll put it up. Little fees like that. And then on top of that, DoorDash has been known to raise the prices of the menu items. So like if you go to McDonald's, for instance, it's like, I don't know what the price is, but let's just say a Big Mac is like $6 or whatever, right? So on DoorDash, you might pay like $8 and some change for a Big Mac, but if you go in person to McDonald's, you're only going to be paying $6. They've been known to do that. So if you end up adding all of that up, your grand total for your delivery, if you're ordering like maybe 2 or 3 things, you might be paying at least like $30. And then that's not even including tips. So some people might be like, yo, you know, when I'm paying all of this, what's the point of tipping? Because they getting paid from DoorDash, right? If you've seen some of these screenshots here of the stuff that I did, the base pay that you get from DoorDash is terrible. A lot of times you are relying on those tips, and like I said, that's just me personally, because I have been a driver. I know how it is. I always go ahead and tip at least $5. It doesn't matter if my bill is like $50 or $60 worth of food or just $20 worth of food. I'm always gonna give a $5 tip, and that's just me, because like I said, I've been on the other side. I know how it is. But yeah, DoorDash is super greedy. They add all of these internal fees, and majority of it is not gonna go to the driver. And then you go ahead and get these crappy orders that just don't make sense. Like, look at these right here. These are a couple that I actually turned down because they literally didn't make sense. These were right outside of my zone. Like 2 of them took me into Indiana for no apparent reason. So like, I'm thinking 2 things here. You don't want to go ahead and just start picking up every single order and, you know, just willy-nilly whatever, because 1, you got to take into consideration if it's going to take you outside of your zone, because if it takes you outside of your zone, sometimes you might not get any more orders and you have to drive back into your zone, and then they start sending you stuff. You might get lucky and they send you some stuff that takes you back into the zone, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. And second, let's just say maybe you're coming up on the end of your dash, and maybe they give you something like this and it's completely in the opposite direction of home. Why would you go and take yourself further away from home just for an extra like $10 or $15, and you got to come all the way back, and you might end up driving like an extra 10, 15 miles plus? Like, for what? And you didn't get anything out of that except $10 to $15. So you're driving maybe like, I think this one was like $15 and it was a 10-mile drive, but that's an addition on top of what I have to drive to get back home. So 10 miles out plus 15 or however many so miles I gotta go back home, like that doesn't add up. So you pretty much drove 25 miles for $15. So then you see where it doesn't add up. It's a lot of stuff that you got to take into consideration, that, you know, you got to pick and choose what you want to pick up and deliver. And also, some people might be wondering, am I with or am I against the no tip, no trip? Honestly, like I said, I don't want to put too much of the blame on the customer, because at the end of the day, DoorDash really does need to be compensating their drivers. But obviously, tipping can be a controversial topic, and this is not even just DoorDash. This includes restaurants, all kinds of stuff. Tipping is like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but I know some people, they don't like to tip because they're like, well, hey, if you don't like what you're doing, go find another job. And it's like, bro, like, what? That's not the solution. Like, if they ended up finding another job, who's gonna do the service for you? Does that make any sense? Like that? See, that doesn't make sense. I hate when people use that argument, because it's like, everybody's job is important, okay? It doesn't matter if you're the valet driver, if you're a delivery driver, if you're, you know, whoever. It doesn't matter. Every single job is important, and everybody deserves to get compensated properly. So yeah, if we have a culture where we have to tip, I don't mind tipping. I'm not against tipping at all. If that's the case, like I said, don't be grimy, don't be cheap. If you can't afford to go ahead and pay the extra money for the service to get delivered to you, what is it going to hurt for you to go ahead and drop a couple extra dollars for a tip? It's not that big of a deal for me. So yes, in the case where customers that don't tip, yes, it is kind of grimy. I got upset when there was a couple orders. I think there was one, it was like $2.75. That was just the base pay. I didn't even get a tip for that. Granted, they lived across the street, but I'm like, bro, you're probably paying an extra $10, $15 to have this delivered to your house anyway. Why don't you just give an extra $1 or $2? It's not gonna hurt you. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to get too much into tipping and all of that, but you know, that's just my 2 cents about it. But yeah, DoorDash, you gotta get it together with this pay, because y'all being too greedy. Y'all being too greedy, absolutely too greedy. And to tie into the whole algorithm thing, this is where the greed is like, jeez, I can't even put it into words, y'all. To kind of wrap up what this whole algorithm thing is, people say that DoorDash has a set hourly rate for you to earn during your dash. So you'll probably have to dash a couple of different separate times to kind of see if you can compare and put 2 and 2 together. To be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna do DoorDash again. Maybe if I want a multi-app. I did sign up for Uber Eats, so maybe I'll do a comparison and then maybe I'll do DoorDash then. I don't know, I'll see. But they say that DoorDash gives you a set hourly wage. No matter how many deliveries you pick up, no matter how many deliveries you decline, you're guaranteed to make a set hourly wage every time. That's what they say, okay? So in my little short excursion with DoorDash, okay, I think this is actually true, because there was one point when I was dashing and I wasn't getting orders for a good like 10, maybe 15 minutes. And I was in a hot zone. It was lunchtime. Literally, my zone said it was busy when I ended my dash. So I'm like, why was I not getting any orders? So they say if you meet a certain hourly rate within an hour, DoorDash will put you on pause. And no, it's not on the front end though. You can't see it. It's still gonna say looking for orders and all of that. It's on the back end. They pretty much saying, look, you made a little bit too much money too quickly in this hour, so take a little break. Just hold on. Just chill out a little bit. And then once your next hour restarts, then you'll start getting orders. Like I said, this was only my first time doing DoorDash in a long time. I would probably have to do more dashes to confirm if this is the case. But I did find it quite odd that I wasn't getting orders for a good 10, 15 minutes when I was in a hot zone in the middle of lunchtime on a Sunday. You tell me, does that seem a little suspicious to you? Matter of fact, has anybody experienced that pause ever? Let me know in the comments. Have you experienced something like that where you stopped getting orders, you had no idea why, you were in your zone, it was fairly busy? Like, let me know, because I'm really curious to see how often this happens, and just to see, like, does this prove the point that DoorDash is really that grimy and they don't want to pay their drivers? So it's like, dang, you making too much money, or you making too much money too fast, so I'm gonna need you to hold on a little bit, because I ain't trying to pay you that much. That's kind of crazy. I just lost more respect for DoorDash. Not saying that I was cool with them already, but nah, that for sure now, nah. And not trying to say like DoorDash is the worst, because they're pretty much all gonna do the same thing. Grubhub, pretty sure Uber Eats does the same thing. Like all of these companies, obviously they're all for profit. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a thing across the board. But yeah, y'all, that's about it. I know this is more like a rant video, kind of in a sense in some places, but I just had to go ahead and let you guys know how I really felt about DoorDash. Like I said, I'm pretty sure y'all heard me take jabs at DoorDash here and there, and now you know why. Because like I said, they're just a greedy corporation. They don't want to pay their drivers, and the work that you do, the amount of mileage that you put on your car, it just doesn't equal the amount like that they're paying you. They're pretty much taking advantage of people, and unfortunately, like the way I see it, there's always going to be a demand for drivers for food. Okay, people want to get their food delivered to them. Like, I don't know how many restaurants have their own delivery drivers that do the deliveries, but you know, there's always going to be a demand for drivers regardless. So there really isn't anything that you can do about it unless everybody just stopped ordering food for delivery, or if the drivers just stopped delivering. You know, one of the two. I don't know. There's always going to be somebody that's going to want to go out there, make some extra money, so they're going to sign up for DoorDash, they're going to sign up for Grubhub or whatever. It's quick, easy money, but it's not really worth it in the sense of how much they make you drive. So, but yeah, I don't know, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.